Half-Life 3, not confirmed. Half-Life movie and Portal, possibly confirmed. J.J. Abrams recently spoke to the ideas of these video games being adapted to films once again. The last time we heard about this was a few years ago, and he had this to say. Not yet, but they're in development, and we've got writers, and we're working on both these stories, but nothing that would be an exciting update. So, yeah!
Yeah.
It's small. It's small, but it's in there still, at least. The idea is that these stories could come to theaters one day. I think they'd be very interesting stories to tell because they both feature a silent protagonist. So we might need to see a change there or no change at all, depending on what narrative voice they tend to take.
I think, too, what you're going to see is based on how Warcraft performs. You will have an increased interest or maybe disinterest in adapting big video game adaptations.
I didn't even think of that, but that is a very, that's a very savvy thought, which is I don't know if it's the right thought, but I think that's the one that they're going to use.
It's a studio thought, if that makes sense. Like, it's not a fan thought necessarily. But something tells me that the people who are making these decisions are going to look at, let somebody else take the risk. Let somebody else be the first one out and see how that does and then plan accordingly.
That reminds me a bit of when James Gunn was like, they're going to learn the wrong lesson from Deadpool's success and think that everything needs to be rated R when narratively it makes sense for Deadpool to be rated R and maybe not these other people. I think that will happen because we see genres get kind of judged by how everyone else is doing, and we see trends started and followed a lot of the time, and this could very well be one of them, even though World of Warcraft and Portal / Half-Life are drastically different games and drastically different experiences and narratives altogether.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think that matters much to Hollywood. I don't know, though. I'm not a studio executive.
Oh, boy.
But then again, the idea that you have this, I guess the only other non-rock franchise Viagra, which is J.J. Abrams, meaning that term, franchise Viagra.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, wow. Well, so for those of you who don't know, The Rock, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, has this nickname of being franchise Viagra, where if your franchise is sort of sputtering a little bit, you bring in The Rock, and all of a sudden people are excited again.
For 4 hours.
Yeah, call your doctor. But so that's just a little explanation there. But I do think that we can look at J.J. Abrams, working on the Mission Impossible franchise and working on Star Trek and working on, or at least the first one, and not to say that he didn't do the second one too, but you get what I mean.
I get what you mean.
You get what I mean. And Star Wars, and even Cloverfield, by the way, which I'm a huge fan of.
I
that.
haven't seen it yet, but it looks good.
Well, I think it's excellent. I think it's absolutely excellent. And but the bigger point is that the film, when it came out, was a modest success, and talk of, expanding that universe always existed, but never quite happened. And now they seem to have done it with Cloverfield Lane. Financially, I think Cloverfield Lane is an incredibly successful film artistically. But the point I'm making is, it was a modest budget and it made a lot back, and almost universally positive reviews across the board. So I think the idea, in addition to Warcraft, that we have to think about is the idea that J.J. Abrams is involved. And if anything could probably get something going, it might be that.
Interesting. I'm so glad I asked you about this film industry insight, because I don't know what franchise Viagra is until now.
I'm glad that if I taught you anything today, it's what franchise Viagra means.
You've told us quite a lot. Clarke, thanks for joining us this week. You can catch Clarke on many different mediums, including
Instagram, Twitter, Periscope. It's at Clarke Wolfe, Clarke with an E, Wolfe with an E, and you can find me on youtube.com/official Clarke Wolfe.
That is great. Clarke, thanks so much for joining us
Thanks
this week and telling us about your movie insight, which I'm interested in, but I don't exactly know all the way. So
that's why we're a good team.
That's why I have guests who are smarter than me come in, people. So thanks so much for joining us. Cloverfield Lane, is we went that way, but we didn't mean to. But it's interesting to see how that this could be read and applied throughout the industry, and where that means the movies might actually take place. So we have news that these are in development, but we'll see where they actually end up going. Please like and subscribe, and let us know what you think below.